All right, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Gainsight Game Changer webinar today, all focused on the 10X theme. So topic of today is Secrets to CS Scale from the Game Changers at Intellishift. I personally could not be more excited for all the information and insights and goodness that we're gonna unpack in the next 45 to 60 minutes here together. Before we do jump in, I want to cover just a few. I'll give you a quick peek at what's in store today in terms of the agenda and a few housekeeping items, and then we'll get started. So let's go ahead and look at the agenda here. So first off, we're going to take just a few minutes to introduce the speakers. So myself and Kristi, which we'll share a little bit more here momentarily. The big topic at hand today is we're going to dig deep into this notion of why scale. So really understanding what the challenge is, and then more importantly, how do we actually operationalize and put things in motion and steps to achieve scale? And we'll be sure to make this conversation a dialogue. We'll keep it interactive. We have a few polls that are going to pop up throughout, so we encourage your participation as we go. And then we'll do our best to save some time at the end as well for some Q&A, because I'm sure there will be lots of questions to come from the good conversation that we're going to have. So first up, let's dive into a few of the housekeeping items. So important for everyone to know, yes, absolutely, we are recording this session. So you can frantically take some notes, but the good news is later today, you can expect to receive a copy of both the slides as well as the recording coming into your inbox today. So we'll share that with you. You can expect that later today. And then as far as question and answer is concerned, go ahead and submit any questions as you have them throughout the webinar using the questions panel in GoToWebinar. So I'll kind of monitor them throughout this presentation and conversation today. I'll be sure to try and plug some of those in as we go, and then we'll try and save some time here at the end to really dig deep and pick Kristi's brain on all the wonderful stuff that she's doing at Intellishift. Cool. All right, so let's share what we have in store from a speaker perspective. So I'll be moderating the section. I'm kind of your host today, if you will, Kelly Capote, VP of Customer Success here at Gainsight. So I lead our entire success organization and have been here for around 3.5 years. Really excited for the topic we have. It's certainly near and dear to my heart, as well as I think I can say for probably many of us customer success professionals here today. And I have the pleasure of having Kristi Faltorusso joining me, who's VP of Customer Success at Intellishift. She's really kind of the veteran, if you will, of really standing up customer success organizations. She's done it a few times now, and she has a really effective approach, which I'm really excited that she's been willing to spend some time with us today and share how she really pulls this across end to end. So to get started, I'm going to give you a peek at sort of the backdrop of the topic that we're discussing today to really understand sort of why is it important, what does it entail, and then Kristi will kind of bring it to life with a real world sort of story, if you will, in terms of how she's tackled this and what she's been able to do at Intellishift. So let's start with acknowledging that delivering value is more important than ever. We've probably said this before, but adoption in and of itself, while it's necessary, it's not sufficient. And I think, given the current landscape that we're all operating in, a lot of the volatility that we're experiencing in terms of the economic situation, our customers are really squeezing us and pressing us and expecting us to really drive tangible business outcomes and value. And that's kind of the cornerstone of where this all starts. Building off of that, I think we can all agree that there's some real business challenge from being able to fully deliver value to customers. So these are the big six that we often hear. We interact with a lot of customers. A large amount of my time is spent engaging with other customer success executives and trading notes, sharing stories. And these are the big six that always bubble to the top. So unexpected churn, inability to scale, lack of customer visibility. How do I get that 360-degree view? Missed expansion opportunities, disconnected customer experience, and poor product adoption. And the one that we're really focused on today that we're going to go deep in is probably the one that I get asked the most about and is the most common and frequently asked about today, which is that notion of scale and efficiency. So that's what this whole session is anchored around. So before we continue, we wanted to pause for a second and do a quick poll because we're curious what you all are experiencing. So are you being asked to do more with less right now? That's our first big question here. So go ahead and put in your responses, and we'll see what kind of results we get. So options are yes, isn't everyone? No, things are pretty steady, and more like more with more. So let's see what the spectrum of these responses look like. It looks like they're flowing in. So far, yes, isn't everyone is the big winner here. Let's give it one more second. Okay, so I think the results are pretty obvious here. So yes, isn't everyone is by far the front runner here. Things are pretty steady. It was only 12%, and we only had 3% more like more with more. So it sounds like a lot of us are very much in a situation where results are still expected, if not probably being accelerated and having higher standards, but the resources and the ability to do so isn't increasing at the same rate. So we'll definitely make sure to kind of unpack different strategies and tactics for how you can solve for that via technology and your resourcing strategy today. Okay, so moving along, just to kind of put a finer point on this, this is a look at the customer life cycle. So there is so much to be done. We have these scheduled activities, those life cycle motions that we expect our customer success team and or our automation to do for us on a scheduled cadence. But we also have those surprises that always sneak up on us, whether it's risk, executive, sponsors are changing. There's so many things that we need to effectively and programmatically have our arms around day in and day out. And then, kind of building on this challenge, if you want to jump to the next slide here, is we have to figure out, I think the big question is, how do we do this at scale across all accounts? So this kind of brings to life some of the benchmarking data that we've seen in terms of account management. What do those ratios, account loads look like? So you'll see 44% of folks really are kind of running in that 1 to 11, 1 to 50 account range, which we know still requires a lot of workflow automation and prioritization to be effective in your job and sort of triaging the right things at the right time with the right resources. So on top of that, I think what we're seeing and what we're hearing is that there's kind of this tale of two scenarios right now for us in CS. And based on the results that you all just put into the poll, it sounds like many of us are in the bucket here of where we may have the same or slightly less resources, depending on the maturity of your company, industry, what have you, but the expectations are only accelerating. So how do we solve for that? How do we do it effectively? And really, what does that crawl, walk, run approach look like to make sure that we're successful in that endeavor? And then last but not least, to further complicate things and make things even more challenging, whether our teams are full or not, we certainly all have our hands full. So there's a lot more of us working from home. We have a lot more distractions. We're probably juggling a few different responsibilities, adding on a few more hats these days. So really kind of figuring out what that secret sauce is to make sure that we're still able to sustain the desired outcomes for our customers while keeping our sanity is that much more important. So